this is a new presentation that I put together, and I was thinking a lot about the past and how I started painting. And so I wanted to like start out, when I started, probably ever since I could remember, I was always drawing. As a teenager, I started doing graffiti, and I was like maybe 11 or 12 years old. My brother was already painting graffiti, but he was doing more graffiti, like, you know, catching tags and stuff like that. And I was kind of blown away by like what they were doing, plus I kind of picked up spray can art. It was a book that, you know, was often stolen from the library, but if you can get a copy, you kind of see, you know, everything that they were doing on the East Coast, the Quinones and all the you know, the legends in New York. But you know, like I wanted to try it, you know, like I was like, oh, well, it's all around me. I'm gonna do my own version of it. So I got, you know, I was interested in the spray paint and you know, trying to take time and paint on a wall and trying to figure out what colors can kind of come together and what am I trying to say on this in the piece. And I think about that a lot because I think about the materials that I was using back then as a 11, 12-year-old, you know, that was 1992. A lot of things were happening around me, the uprising, the beating of Rodney King was in 91, the uprising in 92. And I was thinking about, you know, just like music, things like that were around me that were kind of catapulting me into what I'm doing today. And just like, not that it's like by accident, but I'm trying to think about the things that kind of, you know, that I'm drawn to even now. So thinking about all these things, I was thinking about spray paint and how the material or the paint, or when I started painting with it, I didn't think too much of it, but now spray paint was one of those things that I'm thinking about now is like informed my art making today because I was using materials that you were supposed to use, you weren't supposed to use to make art. And that kind of like, you know, it's something I think about often and how I can kind of approach a piece in a non-traditional way. And in the early 2000s, this was 2005, I was making kind of traditional pieces, you know, a lot of canvas, panel, painting on canvas and panel. This is when I was still at Art Center in my undergrad. And, you know, to be honest, I was still kind of interested in the same, you know, same topics. It's like a, you know, a scene at the bus stop, painting and drawing. And, you know, one of the kids, which was a neighborhood friend, has a bulletproof vest on. And that was kind of like my idea with the Peachy folders was youth and authority. And when we were in high school, we were in middle school, there was police officers at our schools. I didn't really get that kind of concept. So it was showing up in my work early on. And I just wanted to show you some of this. I kind of stumbled onto these older paintings, but this is 2008 or 9. And conventional paintings in the sense that for me, they were just kind of like panel painting, capturing the city in my own way, thinking about friends' stories and things that I've seen, and you know, just kind of wanting to paint pictures of things that aren't, paintings that push back and paintings that aren't, you know, decorative. I'm thinking, you know, just thinking about the things that I'm not seeing in galleries and, you know, just things that aren't being represented that I'm kind of paying attention to. This is 2011. And I guess I'm showing you all this because it's like, you know, it's the landscape, right? But it's just painted in a different way. And later on when I show you images with the work that I'm working on now, it's the same. For me, it's kind of the same way, but it's just using the materials in a different way and approaching it from a different way and a different perspective, I guess. And then after that, I was already out of college and I was, you know, kind of painting the landscape, but I was kind of, in this case, was forging in the landscape for materials. So thinking about, you know, neon as sculpture, stucco as like boss relief, signage, hand-painted signage as, anchors for paintings, as text. It was all available, right? It was painting. A lot of the stuff that I was doing before was focusing on figures in the city, and I was kind of now paying attention to the city itself. And that's kind of how I came to working with neon and thinking about all the neon signage that I was seeing when I was driving home from my studio at night on Whittier Boulevard. I had an apartment in Montebello, in the studio in downtown in 2005, 6, 7. And I would wait till traffic died down and I would drive home and all these neon signs would be on and all the businesses were closed. It was kind of like the city kind of like speaking back, or like a language kind of just like being kind of spun between like the streets, and and this is kind of an aesthetic that's like real community oriented. It's not anything, it doesn't have anything to do with like corporate advertising or semiotics, or it's just straight up like insurance, checks, cash, income tax, travel, immigration, attorney, all this stuff. So I was kind of downloading that language and the vocabulary that it had, and also simultaneously looking at the textures that were next to it and behind it and all that stuff. This is the flower district, the stucco, and flowers, for occasions, and thinking about these kinds of like in LA, there's a lot of these kind of overlays, soft flowers on hard textures, and typically you would see stuff like this as street memorials, corners, or someone got hit by a bike or shot, or someone had a car accident. You see candles and flowers. This was kind of another version of it. I'm going to run through these because I have a lot of slides. But trying to look at the city and discover sculpture, right, and things that kind of exist already, and kind of take that and use that to my advantage. Just didn't stop at the neon. I was thinking about stucco. I was thinking about ceramic tile and art history. You think about paint, but you also think about materials like ceramic and different kind of, just like, you would graphite or paint, or just thinking about things I can use, neon, cake. This is, I'm kind of showing you all this because it's kind of like the bodies of work I'm working on is just kind of simultaneously. I'm not just stopping one to start another one. I'm kind of doing them all at once. And in the studio, I like to do 2 or 3 things at once and kind of have things going and chip away at them. So the neon sign with the fur, I'm thinking about like, overlaying like windows and graffiti tags on top of already existing signage. How can I do that and implement that into a painting? And then the Peachy folder is just a reference for what I'm doing and referencing with the Peachy folders. It's a 1960s, 50s scholastic folder that came from everywhere in America. You could see them in like, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Saved by the Bell, kind of all-American folder. When we used to have them, we put some papers in them, class papers, fold them up, draw on them, put them in your back pocket or your backpack. And we would draw on them often, so that's kind of what they were. It's like kind of a substrate for drawing. This is the first one that I did. It was a drawing. It was a silk screen that I made at Art Center, and it was really generic. Things that I was thinking about, like cops chasing kids and all this stuff. And this was 2005. And then we started getting images of the things that I was thinking about: police brutality, police murder. So I started painting them. Wanting to paint them because I wanted them to be kind of cemented, these happenings, into like a canvas or a panel, so that they're big and kind of undeniable, and you can't ignore it. This was the first one that I painted, I think in 2015, after kind of like a couple years that it took off. This is Eric Garner and it was always about youth and authority with these, right? So in the one that you see from 2005, it was like track, and it was some kid getting chased. And in this situation, there's Walter Scott getting, chased by a cop and getting shot in the back, and Eric Garner selling loose cigarettes, and the detective that was choking him had a, football jersey on. So I was thinking about these things, and these are the things that kind of just, that caught my eye. I just didn't want the paintings to stop there. I made prints and wanted to repurpose them or represent them into the city, and kind of gave them to youth and college kids. This is Inglewood High. And they're just, with my work, I want to bridge, I just don't want to stop at, like institutions or gallery. I kind of want to spread the work out, or because it's informed by, the people in of Los Angeles and the places. So when I can, I want to be presented in that context. I think this is a school in Orlando, right at Talcott High School. Did some for UCLA, the uprising. This is in the Bronx. I'm showing you kind of a mixture of things. So this is kind of like inspiration from around the neighborhood. With the landscapes, I think about land, them as American landscapes, right? Even though that there's all these things kind of coming together, this kind of like collaging of different materials and all these different images. And I think about the buying and selling of land, from the beginning of the birth of America, it's always been about the land, and kind of the buying and the owning and the trading, and, so I think about what's rented, like what people can rent out and lease, and how the area changes after a certain few tenants come in, what is for sale, and a direct kind of response. And that's all I'm doing really with these landscapes, and the work that I'm making is kind of responding, right? And in kind of like real time. So I grabbed this tarp from the corner and kind of stretched it on my panel as canvas.